Well, hi there and welcome along to What's the Word in association with Ladbrokes. I'm Tom Malone, joined this week by David Jennings of the Racing Post. How are you?
I'm great.
Good stuff. We got James Mordaunt as well.
Yeah.
You all right? We'll keep your controversial Ronaldo opinions to yourself, and we've Brendan Duke too. How are you, Duke? You all right?
Good form, thanks, Tom.
Good stuff, good stuff. Right, well, it's been a week of Derby trials, really. So, from what we've seen at Chester, we've got more to come, of course, at the weekend and next week with the Dante too. But, James, start with the betting for the Derby. How did it look?
Yeah, Sir Dragonet seems to be the hype horse at the moment. That's 3-1, Too Darn Hot at 4-1 with Japan and Magna Grecia at 6-1. Broome 8-1, Anthony Van Dyke and Dubai Warrior at 10s, and it's 12s bar. And
what we've seen so far this season, Dukey, do you think we've seen the Derby winner? Or do you think he's yet to make an appearance?
I think the Dante will tell a lot. I have a few quid on Line of Duty anti-post and I'm very excited. I think he can get beaten the Dante and still improve his credentials for the Derby because he's up against the TDH, who I don't think, he might just about stay 10 furlongs, but I don't think he'll stay a mile and a half. And Line of Duty just reminds me a lot of Massar. He's got a lot of experience from last year. He went around Goodwood. The undulations would be no problem to him. He went to America. He's as tough as teak. He'd be going into Epsom. It'd be his 7th run. That experience would be invaluable in that heat. Say that'd be a worry for Sir Dragonet, for example. So I'm pretty pleased with my Line of Duty ticket.
You're happy with Line of Duty? Okay, keeping it current as well with what's trending on the social media world and the like.
That's my favourite show ever. This series was shocking.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed Sunday night. I've never went to bed so disappointed. Well, actually, that's I've often went to my own, but I was very disappointed.
What about the Derby? They're slightly off topic.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Sir Dragonet. Now, he's probably too short now, but I thought at around 13-2 he was probably the right price. He's too short now, and with that in mind, probably, I think we have very, very short memories, and we're all forgetting about Too Darn Hot last year. Obviously, he's had a setback that ruled him out of the Guineas, but potentially he looked the best juvenile we'd seen in a long, long time, probably since Frankel last year. And at the prices, like, it's one of these after the race, if you're getting 4 or 5-1 about Too Darn Hot, you'll be scratching your head going, oh my God, how did that happen? So for me, because of price, it would be Too Darn Hot. Yeah,
you were Too Darn. What do you make of Too Darn Hot's chance of staying the trip, Dukey?
I find it hard to believe.
He's so relaxed though, and I think he's got the right.
He didn't look very relaxed in the Dewhurst. He pulled the jockey's arms out for most of it.
I thought he was more workmanlike than anything in the.
Well, I thought he was brilliant in the Dewhurst. Well, it just shows you you can see a difference. I thought he was brilliant in the Dewhurst, given how keen he was early. I just think he reminds me a lot of Frankel in his younger days. He might settle down as he gets older.
Dewhurst was a funny race though. For the first 2 furlongs went very slow.
That's
the quick in mid-race, he was caught out of his ground.
He was.
I think he's adaptable.
Okay, you were Too Darn Hot. James, who are you for the Derby?
I said it a couple of weeks ago, I still think Japan is the one to beat. I was very taken by Sir Dragonet there the other day, but he's still only learning the game as well. But I think Japan will come out and win the Dante, and he'll go on and win the Derby afterwards. Okie doke.
Right, let's move on to the Saturday action. We'll start with Ascot and the Victoria Cup. We got some prices for this cavalry charge, James.
It's very open looking. Kinran's in at 7-1, Remarkable 9-1. Cape Byron also at 9-1, 10-1, Blue Mist and Ripoff, and there's a whole host of them at 12s.
What do you like here, Dukey?
I like a draw angle.
Soft
ground at Ascot, you want to be on the far side. Most of the market principles are drawn high, so that was I was trying to find something that I thought was well drawn and would handle the ground, and I found one, and it's 40-4-0-1.
Oh, good, still going.
Hajam.
The
double J. Probably isn't that well handicapped off 93, but the race sets up really well for him because there's not a whole lot of pace on his side. He likes to get on with things. If I'm right about the draw, the handicap mark mightn't matter as much, and he's 40-1, so he was the one.
Yeah, and I'm sure you get a few extra places as well. What about you, Jenna?
I like Cape Byron. I think he's one of these Roger Varian Sharjah Bridge style type of customers that's going to win a big handicap. It's drawn 10, which I think should be fine on that ground. When you go back to last year, when he was just beaten over course and distance by Ripoff, he was on the wrong side. He was first to 10 in his group that day. He's rated 103. He's one of these now that I could see just stepping up into listed in Group 3s this year. Could even be a Group 2 horse. He's only had 11 starts, and 7 of those were last year. So it's been a really rapid progress through the ranks for Cape Byron. I think you'll see a different horse this year as a 5-year-old. And I think this could be the start of a big season. He's proven on the ground, he's proven at the trip, he's proven at the track. So I'd be pretty sweet on Cape Byron.
Good stuff. Just looking at the Haydock card is one of these pretty unique cards, isn't it? We've got, you are definitely going to love this. We've got, pattern action over on the flat and over hurdles. We'll start with the Swinton hurdle. Yeah?
Well, Tom, if I know anything about racing, which this will be testament, because if Mr. Fisher cannot win this Swinton hurdle off a mark of 145, I know nothing about racing. He should be different league, and it's interesting that Nicky Henderson, after missing the Scottish champion hurdle, after missing Aintree, he's decided to come here where the ground should be perfect. It's just on the slow side of good. Like that form in the Supreme Trial from Haydock in February, where he beat Bry Forecast, has worked out really, really well. He's just a different level to these, and he's not going to be rated 145 for long. So I think it's interesting, Nicky's, to try to exploit this mark here, proven at the track. Like, if this doesn't win or go very close to winning, I know nothing.
Do you prices for this or anything?
No, we have no prices at the moment.
Do you fancy one in it?
I do like one at a bit of a bigger price. Nietzsche, he's coming in here. He's been running on the flat lately, and he had a good third last time out, and around about 20 to 1 before the prices went to SP. With Danny McMenamin claimed 7 off the back, I think he could go close.
One to think about. What about you, Juki?
Well, as we know, Tom, there are known knowns and known unknowns. And the two known knowns I had coming in here today were that David Jennings was on the show and that Mr. Fisher was running.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I better try and find something to beat Mr. Fisher just for...
Hopefully it's bother.
I tried.
What a waste of time.
And it was a waste of time if I couldn't find anything to beat him.
Like, there is alternative firms who have priced this up at 6 to 1.
I saw 6 to 1.
And that's big. This could be a plunge horse now.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way that horse goes
Like,
out
I
for
just
6
go
to
back
1.
to that preview night where I saw Toby Laws talking with Mr. Fisher, who rides him out every day, and he said if the Supreme Novice Hurdle was next year, that basically he just thought it was a year too soon. If it was next year, he could be an odds-on favourite for it. That's how good he could be.
Okay.
I have the footage. I
Good
retweeted it.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure it's one that's just, you play it to yourself going to bed. That's how you cheered yourself up after a terrible Line of Duty finale the other day, just watching that over and over again.
Yeah, the Supreme, just things happen a bit quick for him. But these are, like, there's no classical dream in this race.
Yeah, no doubt. Right, let's move on to that, the listed race then on the Haydock card. Do you have one for this on over 6 furlongs at 20 past 4?
I'm going to give Arbalete another chance. Like, it is 6 furlongs, but it's 6 furlongs, 212 yards. And I just thought the 6 furlong last time behind Invincible
We'll call
Army,
it 7. We'll mark that up to 7.
I thought he just badly needed a run that day, I thought. Was the first under pressure against Invincible Army. Kind of rallied a little bit mid-race, but rated 106, which puts him right in the mix. He's had the run, unlike Mankib, and I think Arbalete could be one to mop up a couple of these kind of Group 3s this year, and hopefully this will be the start of it. So Arbalete for me.
Anything for you in that Spring Trophy, Juki?
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about the ground. I'm not sure what the ground is actually going to be, but Larchmont Lad is ground versatile and also tactically versatile. He likes to get on with things. He's the only horse in this race who I could see who could potentially make the pace. So I imagine they will. Perfectly good comeback for his new yard in Leicester, in a decent race in Leicester. And I thought he was the play in the race.
A quick mention of the Lingfield Derby trial. Old friend of the show, I think we kind of fell out of love with towards the end of last year. Anthony Van Dyke, probably going to be a warm order favourite. Can you see him striking at Lingfield or potentially becoming a Derby contender?
Absolutely, because last year he was a horse that you thought, wait, he gets a trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
He looks a little bit one-paced. Now, a little bit one-paced in Group 1 races against Quarto. I mean, there's no shame in that. So he definitely has potential at the trip.
Go on, step in there.
Yeah, I think these two are going to get close enough in the betting, Anthony Van Dyke and Cap Francais, because Anthony Van Dyke apparently had a bit of a setback 3 weeks ago along with Japan, so they had an easy week, the two of them. And he was going to go to the Derrenstown with Anthony Van Dyke. Maybe he's come here because he probably thinks it's a bit of a soft touch, and basically he's winning everything at Chester this week. But Cap Francais I thought was really eye-catching in that Derby trial at Epsom. Didn't get the run of the race, stayed on strongly, has the run, and you know that Anthony Van Dyke has had a little bit of a setback. So that brings them closer together. I think they're around evens in 7 to 2. I could see it kind of going 13 to 8, 9 to 4 kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd be taking the early price on Cap Francais.
Yeah, let's move on to the action elsewhere on Saturday. Do we have selections here? Right, Dukey, you're going to give us a couple at Naas on Saturday.
Naas, I'm very excited to see this Eminence back out. I was in Leopardstown when he made a seasonal bow in a 3-year-old handicap, and there were some good-looking horses in that race, but he stood out. He is an absolute specimen. Put them to the sword. It was a bit of a messy race in behind, but I just thought he was really good. I'd say his horse takes plenty of getting fit because he's a unit, so he should come forward plenty for that.
That's at 5-4 on Saturday?
That's at 5-4 is correct. I thought he'd take plenty of beating in this race. And in the 5:05, this Blair Main has gone well off a break. The last couple of times he's had a break, he's won and finished a close fourth in a good race. He's drawn 6 furlongs in Naas.
Yeah, it's a big advantage, I think we've assessed now.
From what we've seen recently, I don't know if they're trying to correct it, or from what we've seen recently, only about 8 of these can win, and they're drawn 1 to 8. He's drawn 4, and 79 is probably an exploitable mark.
Yeah, and he's won well at the track in the past. You're going to take are you going to take Dukey on there in the 3:55 at Naas?
Yeah, just we were down at Aidan O'Brien's press day, and he ran 2 in that race at Cork, Turnberry Isle and Constantinople, and they were just beaten by a horse at Dermot Wells. But the vibes we were getting from Aidan were that both of them were potentially group horses. I'd say Turnberry Isle could be quite useful. I'd say you'll see a different horse. Just got a little bit caught out of his ground and stayed on quite strongly. I thought Turnberry Isle would win that 3:55. In the Blue Wind Stakes, which is at 3:20, Who's Steph is likely to be a short price favourite here for Gerlines and Colin Keane after the Gorham Park romp last Sunday. Rated now 108. So Tarnawa, who's in here for the great Dr. Mr. Weld, he basically...
You just gave him an upgrade in qualifications there, did you?
Yeah, he has a title now.
I think he has an honorary doctorate.
He's an honorary doctorate.
Yeah.
I should have called him.
And he's a vet as well. Do you call vets doctors?
You can call Mr. Weld anything
you
want.
Yeah.
Anything complimentary.
I just thought Tarnawa in the Oaks trial at Navan. I'd say Chris Hayes would love to have ride the race again, because it was like Pink Dogwood kind of swooped on the outside and there just wasn't much room to manoeuvre about 2 out at a crucial stage. Now she's only rated 98, so she's rated £10 inferior to Who's Steph. She gets a 3-year-old allowance. I think Naas might suit Tarnawa better than Navan did, because it's such a long home straight in Navan. So I think Tarnawa might win that 3:20 in Naas. And one other one in the 4:10
Cork?
At Cork. Yeah, the one I like here is, and this is probably, by all accounts, this is probably the banker of the day. It is Foxy Jacks for Mouse Morris and Jack Kennedy, stepping up in trip. I thought it ran a cracker in a bumper at Punchestown. Ran really well. Was second to Molina's Jack in a maiden hurdle at Leopardstown over Christmas. This looks a good piece of placing by Mouse. Interested that he's booked Jack Kennedy to ride. I don't think Jack has had too many rides for Mouse. So Foxy Jacks, I think, will win that 4:10 at Clarny.
Good stuff. Do you like anything else on Saturday there, James?
Yeah, there was one in the 3:40 at Lingfield, the Group 3 race. It's the favourite now at the moment, but Pretty Baby in that. I think for William Haggis and James Doyle is 4 from 6. And had one of these behind him, Dancing Star, last time out in Goodwood, and just think Pretty Baby around about 5-2 could take all the beating in that race.
That's at Lingfield.
Lingfield 3:40.
Good stuff. Let's move on to the Sunday action then, and it's Classic Trials Day at Leopardstown. Obviously, Derrinstown Derby Trial, the feature there. We'll start with that one at 3:25. Because we've had plenty of Derby chat already on the show. We got the likes of Broome, Blenheim Palace in there. Who do you fancy in this?
Sure, I fancy Broome. It's pretty boring, but rate 115. Like, what could you say about its reappearance? The race did fall apart, but to win a race by 8 lengths with so many 3-figure rated horses in behind, I thought it was a pretty exceptional performance. The ground to be a little bit quicker this time, but given the wealth of talent Aidan has in the 3-year-old brigade this year, I'd say Broome is probably in the top 5.
Top 5.
And that's probably good enough. Well,
yeah. He's got 2 classic winners.
You've got Japan, you've got Sir Dragonet, you've got Magna Grecia, you've got Anthony Van Dyke. I'd say he's somewhere close to Anthony Van Dyke. So I'd say
Europa League places. Champions League places, Europa League places.
And like, if he was with anybody else, it would be a leading Derby contender, the best horse we've ever trained kind of thing. But yeah, Broome for me.
Broome, yeah. Can you look past Broome? Maybe Buckhurst, his form was flanked nice by Jack Yates, Dukey, but he could improve. But is it all about Broome?
He almost certainly would improve because he was plenty green that day, and the Dr. Weld horse as well could come forward. But it'd be interesting how Broome goes in the betting. If he gets put in really short, I could see opposition to him because, as David says, the sectional leases don't trust this form from Leopardstown at all. but the paddock judges were very taken.
But we are team paddock judge right here, are we? You know?
I'm not dismissing the time boys at all, but yes, I'm a fan of paddock judges, and it was just how much had he strengthened up. He always had a bit of length about him, but he's really got much stronger behind. He really looks to have come forward a lot from 2 to 3, and I'll take him to win this comfortably.
Just before that, we have the 1,000 guineas trial. Anything for you here? I mean, this is pretty... Looks more wide open, you have to say, with the 10 runners, Jenno, but what do you make of it?
Yeah,
running a guineas trial after 1,000 guineas.
Yeah, it's kind of
it's
bizarre.
bit,
Yeah,
but,
it is quite interesting. Like Aidan doesn't look to have as strong a hand in this as maybe in other years. Like Firefly's only rated 89. Hamarina be interesting. I thought it was quite impressive last time for Mick Halford and Ronan Whelan. And the other one that I thought could potentially run well, and I expect you'll see a much better effort from Terthias from the Jessica Harrington stable. Bitterly disappointing at Navan.
Very disappointing on season
and
debut.
the finals were quite good, but it was very weak in the market. Didn't really show anything. If it was kind of overpriced here, I might chance Terthias.
Yeah, again, 10 runners, so you get you 3 places.
Should finish in the first 3. It's a weak enough renew.
Juki?
Yeah, it looks a weak race. I mean, Hamarine and Lady Wannabe could step forward, but they really have to. I thought Titanium Sky ran a perfectly good race in the Curragh, beating 2.5 lengths, stepping out of Maiden into Pattern Company.
Well as well.
I thought a repeat of that could possibly be enough. I mean, she ran to something in the low to mid 90s. That this isn't a strong race at all, and it was only the 3rd run of her life. She'd probably come forward, and if she does, very hard to beat.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Right, let's move on to the rest of the Leopardstown card. Juki, you like a couple here in the 10 furlong handicap at 4 o'clock?
Yeah, this Operatic Export, again, the paddock judges saw her in Leopardstown. Very, very good looking.
Are you just talking about yourself in the 3rd person here, by the way, or is it are you your paddock notes, or do you have a conglomerate of paddock judges who assemble at the end of every race day?
Definitely, there were ne'er-do-wells, and I may have been one of the ne'er-do-wells, but we all
Do you write down notes in the Prater?
Yes.
Oh, so you would actually write, big back end, strong, imposing. Do you write words?
Words, I usually
words, yeah. Draws
Yeah.
pictures, just no pictures of them.
But anyway,
And do you keep them or throw them out?
I make notes, tracker notes, like everyone else. This Operatic Export, really, really impressive looking filly, and then she went and finished last. However, as we know, Tom, fillies be crazy, yo. You have to give them a pass every so often. Give the Export a pass. Her maiden form has worked out quite well as well, to suggest that the mark she has is exploitable. And if you give her a pass for that run, you're going to get a price. I'll be taking a chance on her. And finally, in the 4:35 in Leopardstown, this King's Vow was very well backed in Navan in a race. I think it'll work out well. He's a few of these covered from that run. I thought the extra 2 furlongs would suit him as well. I thought he'd be hard to beat. He'd be favourite.
Yeah, it's in the 1.5 mile handicap at 4:35. Anything for you in the Leopardstown card there, James?
Yeah, I like Harvest Bow in that 4:35. The No Me trained Harvest Bow. He's drawn well enough there, and I just think in that race it's pretty open. You're going to get a good price on the No Me trained Harvest Bow. Chris Hayes booked up the ride. 9.5, rating of 79.
Do you want to throw another one into the mix? Crimson King is going to win a handicap this year. I just don't know when, but he's going to win one.
He's another impressive specimen.
He
doesn't help himself though.
Doesn't help himself. Fantastic looking horse. Maybe the only thing to win might be the RDS in time, but look, he's someday he should be able to exploit a mark around about 69. Anything else for you on the Leopardstown card?
Unbelievably, no.
What about Killarney then?
Yeah, I was looking at Killarney. Like, there's a horse that probably will be overpriced in the 240. Dixie Lee for Dermot McLaughlin and good booking in Dennis O'Regan. Only rated 127 and only gets £7 from Pearl of the West, who's rated 138, and Ellie May, who was so impressive at Punchestown, only getting £7 from her, and she's rated 140. So it's going to be tough for Dixie Lee. But a track like Killarney, where she can kind of hug the inside rail and she's back down and trip, she is a better mare than a mark of 127. So if she was like, an 8-to-1 shot, I'd chance her.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, let's get our best bets of the weekend. Looking forward to the action rollers Derby trials. Go on, Jiggy. We'll start with you. Best 3. Traditional Trixie.
Traditional Trixie, Tom. I will nap this Eminence in the 3:55 in Naas, and I will stick it in a Trixie with Larchmont Lad in the 4:20 in Haydock and Mr. Fisher in the 3:10.
You know Pádraig Beggy's riding Eminence?
I didn't know the jockey bookings, but I mean, they're only guessing anyway. That's good. We'll get an even bigger price about Eminence.
Good stuff. Go on, James.
Yeah, I'm going with 3 on Saturday, and I'm hoping for a pretty decent 40 minutes. The 3:40 at Lingfield, pretty baby. Kate Byron in the 4 o'clock at Ascot, and Happy Power in the 4:20 at Haydock.
Good stuff. Jenna?
Well, there's only one nap. That has to be Mr. Fisher in the 3:10 at Haydock. In the 4 o'clock at Ascot, I'm a big Kate Byron fan. And also the other one I like is in Cork in the 4:10, Foxy Jacks.
Good stuff. Right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week with more What's the Word.